What's up everybody? In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the easiest way that you can use microSD storage on your PlayStation Vita. This is a subject that a lot of newcomers have been requesting in the comments section ever since Encore was released. So yeah, for those of you who own either a PlayStation Vita or a PlayStation TV, you'll already know that one of the most frustrating things about these products when they were released were the Sony proprietary memory cards that we needed in order to add extra storage to these devices. Not only were these Sony memory cards ridiculously overpriced, with the 64GB option still going for around about $100 today, they're also capped at 64GB as the largest size, and they also had a reasonably high failure rate, altogether making them an extremely unattractive method for storing games. Thankfully, it wasn't too long after we got Homebrew access on the Vita that an adapter came along called SD2VITA, and it's thanks to the SD2VITA adapters that we're able to use regular microSD cards as extra storage space on the Vita. This also allows us to go far beyond the 64GB memory limits that Sony had in place, so I would definitely recommend any Vita owner to get familiar with their SD2VITA options, mainly so that you can increase the total number of games you have installed at any given time. If you're totally new to these SD2VITA adapters and you still need to purchase one, check out the video description area for a couple of links you can purchase them from. These days you'll be able to grab the recommended version 5 SD2VITA adapters for less than $2 from China and AliExpress. They're also available for a few dollars more from Amazon Prime if you prefer buying things domestically. Next up, it's pretty important to note that for anyone to be able to use microSD storage on their Vita, you're going to need PS VITA Homebrew access first, so this means you should already have Henkaku Enso installed on your device, or have the H Encore bubble. If you don't yet have this H Encore bubble on your device, go ahead and check out the video that's appearing at the top right hand corner of the screen now in the cards area. That video will help you learn how you can install the H Encore bubble on your Vita, which is a requirement for this stuff. Alright, so for the rest of you who already have an SD2VITA adapter and you're already familiar with how to run Homebrew on your Vita, let's get things started by preparing the microSD card to be used with the Vita. So you'll need to go ahead and connect your microSD card to the computer. Okay, so on my computer here, I've connected a 128GB SD card. That's the one I want to use for my Vita. So from here, the first thing you're going to need to do is download the first two files linked in the video description. First up is this Win32 disk imager program, as well as this zzblank.img file. So download both of these, and then we're going to need to install the disk imager software. So go ahead and run this file, and then go ahead and install the program on your computer. Once installation is complete, go ahead and run the program. Here's how it looks. So the first thing you'll need to do in device here is specify your SD card. So you can see I've made sure I've got iDrive selected here, which is my SD card. Then we'll need to select an image file, so point it to the zzblank.img file you've downloaded. So with zzblank selected and the SD card specified in device, you can just go ahead and click write. It'll say writing to a physical device can corrupt the device. Are you sure you want to continue? Go ahead and choose yes. Should come up saying that write's been successful. So with that done, the next thing you should do is eject the SD card from your computer, and then just go ahead and plug the device back in. So at this point your computer might come up saying it needs to format the drive before it can use it. Just click cancel on this screen, and then in the My Computer area, right click the drive and choose format. Now in here we're going to need to specify the exFAT file system is being used. In the allocation unit size we're going to change it to default. Unless you're using an SD card that's over 200GB in size, then I've heard that selecting 64KB cluster sizes is recommended. But for my 128GB card here, default is recommended. Make sure that the volume label here is completely blank, and then you can just do a quick format on the card. And when that's finished, the SD card is prepared for the Vita, so we can go ahead and eject it from the computer and switch back to the Vita now. Alright, so back on the Vita itself, we have a little bit of prep work we need to do here as well. If you haven't already, make sure your device is capable of running Homebrew, so go ahead and launch Encore Bubble if you need to. And then go ahead and start up Vita Shell. With Vita Shell launched, we need to send a file to the Vita, so go ahead and push the select button so that the FTP or USB connection method starts. Since I'm on my PS TV, I've started the FTP connection, and now I'll switch back to my computer so that I can send a VPK file across. Okay, so on your computer, this time go ahead and click the third link in the video description. It'll take you to a page where you can download the TF Card plugin tool. So go ahead and click the download button on that site so that you grab this file. And I've just FTP connected to my Vita here, and I'm going to send the TF Card plugin tool into my UXO VPK folder. So you can send that anywhere on your Sony memory card that you like, UXO, and then go ahead and switch back to the Vita again. Alright, so back on the Vita, I'll push circle to close the connection, And now just browse to where you sent that VPK file. So for me, it's the UXO VPK folder. And then go ahead and install the TF card plugin tool. Great, so when that's finished, we can exit out of Vita Shell. Go ahead and locate your new TF card plugin tool bubble and launch the program. Okay, so here's how the tool looks. Now in here, the top two options are two different ways that you can mount your SD card in the Vita. So I'd recommend the second option, which is SD2VITA as UXO, or the primary storage point, and your Sony memory card will be changed to UMA0. The reason I recommend this is because I always recommend the largest storage point that you have in your Vita should be UXO. The reason for that is because Vita games, which are some of the biggest content that you'll have on your memory card, can only be started successfully when they are on UX0. Whereas PSP and PS1 ROMs, for example, they can be launched from any storage point. So yeah, I definitely recommend the second option here, which will set your SD card to be the UXO primary storage point for the system, and it will set your Sony memory card for UMA0. But if you'd like the reverse, you can choose the top option. So anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and push circle to choose this, and it'll say swap the mount. SD2VITA will be UXO, memory card will be UMA0. Are you sure you want to proceed? Circle is yes. Would you like to reboot the device now and enable this? Push circle for yes. So at this point here, my PlayStation TV is rebooting. You'll probably see this updating database screen when you reboot. Just let it do its thing, that's totally normal. So when the system's finished rebooting, since I have ENSO installed, I can see that my Vita has rebooted and it's automatically detecting the SD card as UXO like I wanted. However, if you don't have Henkaku ENSO installed, you'll need to run the encore bubble first, so your storage will get mounted after you exit the encore bubble. And if I just come into my system settings area here, scroll down to system and then system information, I can see that indeed it has recognized my 128GB SD card storage is available. And if I was to come into Vita Shell here as well and look in my UR0 tie area, I can see that if I check the config.txt, the plugin has basically installed Storage Manager for me at this point, as well as configured it in such a way that the SD2VITA is being mounted as UXO and the Sony memory card is mounted at UMA0. It basically simplifies the process of installing Storage Manager on your Vita, which is a great storage driver for sure. And yeah, in Vita Shell we can see that I've got the 128GB SD card as UX0 and my Sony storage is still available at UMA0 as well. Now if you're new to using a MicroSD on your Vita, you might be a little overwhelmed because the bubble situation looks different now. That's totally to be expected. When you change the storage that's mounted at UXO, it's basically like having a different memory card inserted into your Vita. So any of your core applications, like things like Encore and Vita Shell, you're going to need to install them again now that you have the SD card as UXO. So it could be that a good first thing for you to do now is use the Content Manager application again, just to transfer the Encore bubble across to your SD card, and then once you can launch Encore on your SD card, you can install Vita Shell again too, and then things like Adrenaline, etc, etc. Of course, you'll also want to install the NoNP-DRM plugin so that you can run Vita game backups like I have here. Alright team, so I hope this video helped you get the SD2VITA adapter working with your Vita. If you enjoy PS Vita tutorial videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel because I've got a series of upcoming Vita topics that I want to get made in the next few days. Don't forget, you can use those links in the video description to purchase an SD2VITA adapter if you still need to get one. And that about brings this video to a close. Happy gaming everybody, hope you have a beautiful day there, and peace out.